Hey guys, my name is Heath Bryant-Huppert, and I'm here today to talk to you about my 2017 NAHA Makeup Artist of the Year nominated collection. Whew, that was a lot. So I'm here today. I'm in New York in my apartment, so you might hear some honks, but that's just part of the deal with living in New York, so sorry. So I guess a little bit about my collection. Well, a little bit about me. This is my, this is my fourth time going to NAHA, and this is my third nomination. So I was nominated in 2014 for the first time, and actually won that year, so that was pretty cool. And then I was nominated again in 2016, which was pretty sweet. That collection was really near and dear to my heart. And then this year was a very, very, very exciting moment. I had a lot going on this year and didn't actually think that I was going to be able to get a collection shot, but we pulled it out, and it was pretty sweet. So I'm very happy about that. So I don't know if you've had like a chance to look at my collection or not, but it's all pretty, it's a pretty like emotionally involved collection. The inspiration behind all of it was very, like, what has my life been the past like 7 years living in Minneapolis. I knew I was making a very big life change and moving to New York. And so I wanted to know exactly, I wanted to be able to portray what my feelings were in a collection. And I think that I kind of did that, not only in the collection itself, but with the entire team involved. My photographer, Janelle Olson, is just an amazing photographer, and she was one of the very first photographers that I shot with when I moved to Minneapolis. So that was pretty exciting. And then my model, Holly, is a very dear friend that I used to work with. And it's kind of funny. Like I said, I didn't know that I was actually going to be able to shoot the collection. And my husband, Joe, was actually doing his last residency interview in San Francisco, and I was on the plane, and I was like, it's like mid-January. And I thought, okay, if I'm going to do this, like, I have to do it. So I actually got on Wi-Fi somewhere, I don't know, over Idaho. Is that even a place that you fly over? And so I'm like texting like crazy. I'm like, hey, Janelle, are you free to, do you want to do this? Like, are you free to shoot like next week for NAHA? And so she was like, are you crazy? And I was like, yeah, why not? So she was like, sure. So literally everything kind of happened very organically and very fluidly after that. I booked her, and then I started putting together like a PowerPoint just to kind of know exactly what I was doing. So I'm going to show that to you. So the name of the collection is actually called Glossed, and this is kind of how I like to work. I like to put everything in a nice, like, clean PowerPoint format, so that I know exactly what I'm doing. And I'll print this off and hang it all over the studio the day of the shoot. So I like to kind of start with words that would best like describe the collection that I'm shooting. And then from that, I don't actually start thinking about makeup until I kind of know exactly what the entire look is going to be. So I knew I wanted it to all be like based on skin. Like, I wanted this amazing, glossy, clean skin. And so for me, it was really important to find someone like Holly that just had impeccable texture on her skin. It worked out perfectly. I wanted everything to be kind of simple. So my last collection for NAHA was called Iris, and it was anything but simple. Like, you know when Coco Chanel says, take off one thing before you leave the house? So we actually probably put more on than we needed to. We had paper lashes, we had glasses, we had, tons of jewelry. So I wanted everything to be very simple. And then I wanted the hair to be textured, but very sleek at the same time. I knew I wanted a lot of long lines, and whether it be in the hair, in the makeup, or just in the model's posing. So that was very, very important to me. I also knew that I was really big on the whole no brow trend, and so I really I had to convince Holly to let me bleach her brows out, and for her going from a pretty dark, a level 4 brow to nothing, that was a pretty big adjustment. So then I started pulling inspiration images, and these were kind of the things that popped into my mind as far as long lines, just a lot of simple, clean textures. These guys were really awesome. I really liked the whole neon pop of everything. So kind of the same with this. And then I started thinking, once again, how do I get my, the past 7 years of living in Minneapolis, how do I portray that in this image? So working at House Salon, where I first started, we had a beautiful art installation by Hot Tea. It was an amazing yarn sculpture that hung down from the ceiling over the shampoo beds. And so I knew right then, I have to do yarn. I have to put this as my texture piece in there. So that's kind of how that all started, was yarn, lines, super clean. So then from that, I kind of found these guys, and I thought, okay, this is pretty cool. I like the way this looks. And then going from there, then I had to start thinking about makeup. So for me personally, I don't like to pull a ton of inspiration images for makeup. When I do pull images like that, I don't necessarily look at the makeup itself, but I look at the shape of the makeup. I look at the shape of how things are laid out and lined up. So then I started kind of pulling these guys. Let's see if I can. So I knew I wanted something very glossy, very clean, very pretty, but very smudged still. So I just liked these. I thought these were really cool. I could kind of do something, pull some weight like that. And then the hair, I knew, like I said, I just wanted it very sleek, very, very textured ponies, if I did any ponies at all. And so this is kind of what I came up with. So everything here is just very nice and very simple. I think that it correlated very well into the image itself. So there's my look too. So actually, looking back at it, I think it was pretty spot on, how I kind of wanted it to come across. Then also look 3, and this was one of my favorite images. We shot this, and I would probably say maybe first or second shot, we knew that was it. And I think there were maybe 5 pictures altogether to choose from, which is pretty crazy. And most artists that have done competitions like this or have done collections, sometimes you'll shoot 20, 30, 40 pictures and they have to choose from all that. But I was pretty confident, and I knew that working with Janella, working with Holly, we just didn't, that wasn't even going to have to be an option. We would just kind of go from, the very few that we shot to begin with. So that was pretty cool. So I think, as far as giving what I have come up with as a good recipe for a collection, you start with your model and your photographer. For myself, I kind of almost go with those before I start pulling inspiration, because what if your model, what if you kind of have to design your collection around her, almost in a muse form? I don't think that's a bad thing at all. And then working with a photographer, I've worked with some amazing photographers. Janelle is such a wonderful, wonderful person. She kind of directed me into stuff that I didn't even know that I wanted. So I think, like building a team, I've always said this, building a team is a very important thing. And I think we definitely achieved that with this collection. Also, I wanted the hair to be very crisp and polished, so not a lot of fuss. When I say texture, like I want it to be kind of loose and kind of free. Like I'm not an artist that kind of lies in restraint. I want it to be very easygoing, and I think it was really nice with Holly. Like she has just amazingly beautiful hair. We were able to just pull it back and do some deep parts. And then in the first image that's in the collection with the blue yarn, I thought it was really cool that we kind of deconstructed the pony. There were a couple of images that we didn't end up using, but the pony just got so big and so thick, and it was just so beautiful. And I don't know, it just, like the lines of the hair coming out and the lines of the yarn and the lines of the liners, it just all kind of worked together. So it was really, really nice. I also chose to shoot bare without any type of clothing or accessories. The only accessory was the actual yarn wrapped around Holly's neck and head. So for me, I just wanted it, like I said, to be very clean and crisp. And you're going to be surprised. So I know that you've seen the images before, but I just kind of wanted to go over like how wonderful it is when you shoot for makeup. This is not necessarily for hair, but for makeup, you don't want a lot of foundation, a lot of powder. On Holly, I literally just touched in the T-zone area with a little concealer. This shine is all just her natural radiance, and I used a little bit of Vaseline to give that really nice crisp glimmer, and we just kind of coated her entire face and body with that. There were times when when we were taking makeup off, doing quick changes, and she would have to go into the bathroom and just almost wipe off her entire body from all of the Vaseline and shimmer that we had put on her. But I go back and I look at these and I'm very impressed, and I'm very excited for what we created. We worked very well as a team. That's a very important thing, to work as a great team and to have that really great support. Also, for me, like when you're starting a collection and like the day of shooting and stuff, it's really important to show up on time. We actually, once again, kind of going back to that teamwork, we started at maybe 9 a.m. and we were done maybe 6.5 hours. So that's a pretty quick shoot, considering everything that we shot. So it was pretty awesome. So that's kind of all I got. I hope you guys enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun, kind of talking about the collection. I haven't really looked at it that much since after we shot it and it got nominated. So it was kind of fun to go back and look at those. But I wish everyone amazing and good luck is it next weekend? I think it is. Next weekend in Vegas. I'm excited to see all my friends. I have to give a little shout out to Whitney Vermeer. She got nominated for men's hairstyling, and I worked with her a lot. Super, super great friend. Really, really great hairstylist. And Charlie Brackney at In-House Salon, both nominated for Salon Team and Hairstylist of the Year, and I was able to do makeup for both of those collections, and super excited to see everybody. Thank you, Hair Nerds, for having me, and I hope you guys got a little inspiration from everything, and we'll see you again soon. Bye, guys.